What if I told you that one F1 weekend in Las Vegas, one messy little TikTok from a club, and one fandom meltdown almost turned Love Island USA's favorite couple into the internet's latest villain, without Nic or Alandrea actually doing anything new? Because while people are still arguing about Ace, Taylor, Sierra, Huda, and everything that went down on Love Island USA Season 7, the real drama didn't happen in the villa this time. It happened at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, where Nicolandria, that's Nic and Olandria, ended up in the same city on different brand trips, while a random clip from a Vegas club had the fandom convinced Nic had just blown up their whole dating show love story.
If you follow Love Island, if you were invested in Nic, Alandrea, the whole Love Island USA Season 7 cast, the Love Island Huda drama, the way Ace, Taylor, and Sierra kept the timeline fighting, then this Vegas weekend was like a crossover episode you did not ask for. Before we dive into what really happened, do me one tiny favor. Tap that subscribe button like you're voting for your favorite Love Island couple at the recoupling. It's free, it helps the channel, and it tells the algorithm your team don't jump to conclusions today.
Let's rewind for just a second, because context matters. On Love Island USA Season 7, we watched a whole parade of couples rise and fall. Ace and Taylor, Sierra clashing with people, the Love Island Huda storyline, and 1,000 debates about who was real and who was playing the game. But through all of that, Nic and Olandria slowly turned into something different. Nic, the soft-spoken guy who always seemed more interested in lifting his girl up than performing for the cameras. Olandria, the Bama Barbie who could flirt, joke, and still call out nonsense when she saw it. Together, they became Nicolandria, the couple that made people argue in the comments and still managed to trend every time they breathe. Some people decided the relationship was too perfect to be real and started calling it a storyline. Others saw the way Nic hyped her up and said, nope, this is exactly how it should be.
And when they left the villa, they didn't fade back into normal life. If anything, the story got bigger. Brand deals, events, trips, features, interviews, and then came Ovember, a whole month where Olandria seemed to be everywhere at once. By the time the Las Vegas Grand Prix rolled around, Nicolandria weren't just that couple from a dating show. They were a mini franchise, which means every move they make now lives under a microscope, especially when the internet feels like it owns a piece of their relationship.
Now, let's talk about Vegas. The Las Vegas Grand Prix is already a ridiculous event by itself. Night race, neon lights, the strip shut down, celebrities everywhere. F1 set this thing up to be one of the biggest, glitziest weekends of the year. Racing on the strip, massive parties, and sponsors turning the whole city into one big branded playground. Into that chaos walk Nic and Olandria. But here's the key detail a lot of people ignored when the drama started. They were in Vegas on different brand trips. Nic was there with an energy drink brand, doing the whole VIP race weekend thing. Parties, appearances, content, hanging with his boys, and even his dad coming along for the ride. Alandrea was there with Liquid IV, the hydration and energy partner that brought a bunch of influencers and reality TV faces out for activations, dinners, and content.
Same city, same massive F1 weekend. Completely different schedules. We saw Nic dressed up in a black velvet suit at a pre-party, looking like he walked out of a campaign shoot. Fans were reposting clips of him at a gala-type event, surrounded by the F1 crowd and brand people. At the same time, Olandria was with her group at a Vegas dinner, surrounded by other women in glam looks, some from Love Island UK, others from across reality TV and influencer culture. It was one of those nights where everyone is being filmed from every angle and every brand wants their logo in the background. And just when it seemed like Vegas alone was going to be chaotic, Olandria's schedule got even wilder.
Right in the middle of this Grand Prix madness, Alandrea leaves Vegas. Why? Because she has another major booking in Los Angeles. She heads back to LA for Femme Forward's Give Her Flowers event, where she receives the Self-Love Award, an award that celebrates women who inspire others by the way they show up and encourage people to value themselves. And this isn't just another red carpet for the grid. This night is special because her parents are there, including her mom, Felicia. Felicia is the one who presents Alandrea with the award.
Imagine that moment. You've been grinding on a reality show, doing brand work, being pulled into drama you didn't ask for. And then you're all stage, in LA, at a women's-centered event, with your mom standing there, telling a room full of people why you deserve a self-love award. Fans who saw the clips online talked about how emotional it felt. You get a glimpse of Alandrea not just as a Love Island finalist, but as a daughter, as someone trying to use her platform for something bigger. Then, because apparently her calendar doesn't believe in rest, she reportedly drives back to Vegas. We're talking about hours on the road to make it back in time for more F1-related obligations. It's the kind of sleep-when-you're-dead hustle that people don't really see when all they focus on is the drama. By the time she pulls back into Vegas, the Grand Prix weekend is fully in motion. Nic's doing his brand duties, Alandrea's juggling events, family, and appearances. And somewhere in that blur of parties, tracks, and activations, one short clip is about to do a lot of damage.
Here's where things get messy. A girl working in the Vegas nightlife scene posts a short, grainy video to social media. In the clip, you can see Nic sitting in a chair at a club, his face angled upward, looking toward a bottle service girl in a revealing Vegas outfit. Music blasting, lights flashing, the usual Vegas after-party atmosphere. Now, that alone could be nothing more than a regular club moment. But the problem wasn't the video. The problem was the caption.
The way it was worded, it strongly implied that Nic, who everyone knows is in a public relationship with Alandrea from Love Island USA, was out there at a spicy club while supposedly being in a committed relationship. It didn't say, here's a guy ordering sparkling water. It was written in a way that invited people to assume this was sketchy. The clip starts to move. People repost it. Screenshots hit TikTok. It slides over to X. And suddenly, the story isn't Nic was sitting in a Vegas club where bottle service exists. The story becomes Nic was in a strip club cheating on Olandria. Nic was getting a lap dance in a private club. He humiliated her in public.
None of that is actually in the video. There's no lap dance, no touching, no kissing, no evidence of anything beyond a guy sitting where a lot of guests sit in Vegas, in a club, near a worker whose job is literally to walk up and ask, "What are you drinking?" But the internet isn't famous for nuance. Within hours, the rumor has mutated from a grainy clip into full-blown Nic cheated on Olandria in Vegas discourse. People start stitching it, reacting to it, using it as proof that they were right to doubt Nicolandria all along. The wild part? The truth is way more boring than the caption. Once the initial shock wears off, people start doing what fandoms do best, digging. They look at timelines, locations, who tagged who where. Here's what starts to come out. Nic was at a known Vegas nightclub attached to a hotel, the kind of place where F1 after-parties, sponsors, and VIP guests hang out. This wasn't some secret, underground, private venue. Other people there describe a normal bottle service situation. No lap dances, no wild physical behavior, nothing close to what the rumor suggested. Nic's own posts line up with a guy doing exactly what he was booked to do that weekend. Show up, smile, hang with his crew, and let his sponsors show him off at the Grand Prix.
Most importantly, the original poster eventually admits that nothing actually happened, that she was being messy, the video was taken out of context, and the situation was exaggerated into something it wasn't. So now we have a clip that doesn't show cheating, a caption that heavily implied it,
A follow-up where the person behind it walks it back and says that nothing went down, but by then, the damage is done. People who only saw the first post never see the correction. The Nic cheating narrative has already sprinted ahead of the facts. You even see commentary channels and fan pages putting Nic cheating on Olandria in their titles because they know the word cheating is clickable. Even if the reality is, random girl posted a club clip and then admitted she was just being messy. And honestly, this is where the story stops being about what Nic did that night. This is where it becomes about what the fandom did.
Let's talk about what happened online after that clip dropped, because this is where it gets dark. People who claim to be Nicolandria fans, people whose bios say Team Nic and Olandria forever, start turning on Nic instantly. There's no, let's wait for more info. There's no, maybe this is just a club moment. It jumps straight to, he humiliated her. He's just like every other guy. She deserves better. And that's the mild version. Some people go further, leaving long, angry comments under Nic's posts, tagging Alandrea directly to make sure she sees every accusation, messaging family members and people close to them like somehow that's going to help. This is where parasocial relationships kick in. A parasocial relationship is basically when you watch someone so much online that you start to feel like you know them personally. You start talking about them like they're your friend, or your ex, or your client. You convince yourself that you understand what's best for their life better than they do. So instead of saying, that clip looks bad, but I'll wait for context, some people said, I am now the lead attorney for the defense of Alandrea's honor, and I will be sending essays to everyone in his life. Here's the twisted part. The people who claimed they were defending Alandrea were actually dragging her into a mess she didn't create. Think about it. Calling Nic a confirmed cheater when there's no proof doesn't just hurt him, it reflects on her relationship. Telling the world she's being humiliated in public when she hasn't said that herself is a way of publicly defining her feelings for her. Harassing people in her life under the banner of support doesn't protect her. It makes her fandom look unhinged. And we're not talking about little jokes here. Some of the messages that got reported were heavy. Dark threats, extreme language, things no one deserves to get over a club clip. At that point, it stops being about holding someone accountable and starts being about fans projecting their own issues onto a couple they've never met. We've seen this with other people from the season too. Ace, Taylor, Sierra, Huda, where fan narratives snowball so hard that they become louder than anything the real people are actually saying. The Vegas weekend just made it crystal clear how quickly Nicolandria's own fan base can turn into their biggest headache.
By the way, if you're still here, clearly you're in the top 1% of people who wait for context before canceling somebody. So hit subscribe like you're pressing vote to save Nicolandria on the Love Island app. The algorithm loves responsible fans. All right, back to the timeline. So what did Nic and Olandria do in the middle of all of this? Did they hop on live crying? Post notes at paragraphs? Drop a PR statement? No, they did something way more powerful. They kept living their lives. While the fandom was eating itself alive, Nic kept posting his F1 weekend content. Boats with the boys, DJ sets, the whole Vegas experience. No panic, no defensive energy, just a guy enjoying the trip he was booked for. Alandrea popped up at the Los Angeles Rams game in a True Religion suite. Chilled, smiling, surrounded by family, including her mom. She looked like someone who was busy, working, and enjoying her life. Not sitting at home reading every rumor.
If anything, their behavior said louder than any tweet, we know what we have. You can say whatever you want. And here's where previous things they've said make this even clearer. Nic has talked about how he uses social media. When he's with his boys, at a brand event, we're just vibing, he's happy to share. But when it's him and his girl and it's their time, that's not for everyone. He's already told the world he's not going to hand people ammunition to pick apart his relationship. Alandrea has hinted more than once that she understands why some celebrities choose not to talk about their partners publicly at all, because people twist everything. Put that together with this weekend, and you can almost see the switch flip. A lot of fans started saying the same thing. Yeah, this might be the moment where she decides to pull back. Less going live late at night after long shoots. Less letting people into the day-to-day of her relationship. More, you see what I choose to show you, and that's it. And honestly, that's not punishment. That's self-protection. Because when she has literally said in different ways that Nic is part of her, hurting him hurts her, then watching people who call themselves fans send him awful messages over a rumor that wasn't even accurate, there's only so much of that anyone is going to tolerate before they say, okay, you get the curated version of me now. That's all. From the outside, it looks like the Vegas drama didn't crack their relationship. If anything, it exposed the cracks in the fandom.
So what does this whole F1 Las Vegas saga actually tell us? First, being a fan of a couple from a dating show like Love Island USA is fun until people start acting like they have a contract over their real lives. It's one thing to make edits of Nicolandria, re-watch their Love Island Season 7 moments, debate whether Ace, Taylor, Sierra, or Huda were right or wrong in the villa. That's all part of fandom. It's another thing entirely to decide a 10-second clip means confirmed cheating, harass people in their comments and DMs, try to pressure someone into breaking up with their partner based on a rumor you didn't even see from the source.
Second, the internet rewards the spiciest version of a story, not the truest one. Nic was sitting at a Vegas club while a bottle girl did her job is not getting 100K views. Nic was cheating on Olandria at a strip club, absolutely will. And that's the exact gap where misinformation lives. Third, this weekend didn't expose Nic. It exposed us. It showed how fast people will believe a narrative if it confirms what they already want to think. It showed how some fans would rather play protective partner for a stranger than respect that person's actual choices. It showed just how exhausting it must be to date someone publicly in 2025. Because at the end of the day, Nic and Olandria are two young people from a dating show, trying to build careers, maintain a relationship, and exist under constant scrutiny. Doing all that while fans assign meaning to every blink and every Instagram story. And after all the noise, after Vegas, after the caption, the clip, the rumors, the walkbacks, the meltdown, and the think pieces, Nicolandria are still Nicolandria. They're still posting, they're still booked, they're still moving like a couple that knows what they have, whether we're invited into the conversation or not. The real scandal of the Vegas weekend isn't that Nic destroyed his relationship. It's that one messy post showed just how quickly a fandom can destroy its own credibility. If you made it this far, you're officially in the calm, rational section of the internet. So, hit subscribe like you're sending one last vote to keep Nic and Olandria in the villa. Drop a comment telling me what you honestly think. Was this Vegas thing a relationship test or a fandom test that a lot of people failed? And remember, you can love Nicolandria, Nic, Olandria, Ace, Taylor, Sierra, Huda, the whole Love Island USA universe, without turning their lives into a courtroom. I'll see you in the next deep dive.